allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Days.
Here.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Present.
Councilmember Fitch.
By video conference here.
Councilmember Gray.
Present.
Councilmember Clancy.
Present.
Councilmember Trakas.
Present.
Councilmember Harder.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Good afternoon, council members, colleagues, county residents, and other interested persons. Today's special council meeting comes in response to the current state of emergency due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. We are here because it is essential that the legislative branch of county government continues to function. Accordingly, there is an urgent need to amend ordinance sections of St. Louis County revised ordinances to allow for the county council to meet by video conference and other remote means so that the council may continue to meet and conduct the vital business of county government during the duration of the public health emergency. There is also an urgent need to amend the council's rules by resolution to allow for members of the public to submit comments to the council by alternate means, particularly because of the prohibition on gatherings of more than 10 people within St. Louis County. Therefore, due to the existence of an emergency and pursuant to the exceptions stated in Section 610015 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri and Section 114.040 of the St. Louis County Revised Ordinances, the council is holding this meeting of all 7 members and will conduct necessary roll call votes even though one member is not physically present and is instead participating in the meeting remotely. I want to offer my sincere appreciation to my fellow council members, to council staff, and the county councilor's office for working diligently over the past week to help the council transition to this new reality in which we now find ourselves. And with that, we will move to other communications.
Madam Chair, under other communications, item number 1.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 2.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order.
Item number 3.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order.
Item number 4.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, and that will be the order. Introduction of bills.
We have one bill this evening, Bill number 80, introduced by Councilmember Clancy, an emergency ordinance amending Chapter 114 of Title I, St. Louis County Revised Ordinances 1974 as amended, Sunshine Law, by repealing and reenacting Sections 114.030 and 114.040 pertaining to public notice of meetings and public votes and declaring an emergency.
I move to advance Bill number 80 to the perfection order of business. Is there a second?
Second.
All in,
Madam Chair, before
Councilman Trakas.
we vote, if I could have a moment, please.
yes.
I want to take that moment to commend the chair for her leadership and tireless efforts to bring this body together this week as we prepared for this special meeting. As we proceed to navigate what are undoubtedly uncharted waters, as the chair has already articulated, it is incumbent on this council to be ever vigilant in assuring that its actions do not encroach on civil liberties guaranteed by our Constitution. A real and present conflict exists between the enforcement of public health and protection measures and the attendant infringement on individual rights and liberties those measures carry with them. There are situations when compulsory measures are the only reasonable option. To be sure, liberty-depriving measures should not be ruled out per se because, as we have already seen in St. Louis County, not all members of the public can be trusted to do the right thing. But these measures must be the last resort, only after voluntary measures have failed, and it can only be conclusively established that such compulsory measures actually contribute to better public health. Infringements on individual rights and freedoms should only be imposed on individuals who pose demonstrable risk to others and who steadfastly have refused to comply with voluntary measures such as self-quarantine. To avoid the slippery slope of increasing infringement on constitutionally protected rights, civil liberties should always come first. relying on the willingness and responsibility of the public to abide by self-imposed restrictions. People can only be expected to accept liberty-depriving measures in times of crisis only when they fully trust in the honesty and competence of governmental authorities imposing such measures. It is our responsibility to make sure that county government constantly engage county residents in open and reality-based discussion of civic responsibilities in the face of the current pandemic. Anything less will surely garner a loss of trust, which will no doubt have devastating consequences. Abuses of power will undoubtedly arise when the ability to impose restrictions and limits on liberty are wielded in a climate of fear. Inevitably, conflicts between the rights of the individual and the need to protect the health of the general public will arise. It is our duty to act responsibly and in such conflicts and always be vigilant in protecting individual rights. I believe that's what we have done to this point, Madam Chair, and again, I appreciate your leadership and collaborative efforts this week getting to where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, we will do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Days.
Aye.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
By video conference, aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracas.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Madam Chair, on the motion to advance Bill number 80 to the perfection order of business, there are 7 ayes.
The motion carries. Bill number 80 is advanced to the perfection order of business.
Shall I read the bill to perfect it?
Yes, I move to perfect Bill number 80. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 80 is perfected.
The record will reflect that Councilman Fitch voted aye via video conference.
Thank you. I move to advance Bill number 80 to the final passage order of business.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Days.
Aye.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
By video conference, aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracas.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Madam Chair, on the motion to advance Bill 80 to the final passage order of business, there are 7 ayes.
The motion carries. Bill number 80 is advanced to the final passage order of business.
Shall I read it for final passage? Bill number 80, introduced by Councilmember Clancy.
I move for final passage of Bill number 80.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Days.
Aye.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
By video conference, aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracas.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Madam Chair, on Bill 80, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 80 is finally passed.
Madam Chair, we'll move on to resolutions. We have 1 this evening.
Please read the amended the text of the resolution that has been amended to reflect the change to the rules.
Yes, ma'am. Under Rule 5, we are adding, in the event that the council must conduct a regular meeting by electronic means during the pendency of a public health emergency, the chair is authorized to direct the administrative director to provide for the notice and manner of submission and acceptance of written or electronic public comment prior to such meeting. The notice issued by the administrative director shall reflect that such written or electronic public comment is limited to 400 words and must be received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time of the meeting. Additionally, the administrative director or designee shall read all such public comments into the record during the public forum order of business and shall enter such public comment into the journal of the meeting.
Thank you. I move for adoption of resolution number 1.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Days.
Aye.
Councilmember Dunaway.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch.
By video conference, aye.
Councilmember Gray.
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy.
Aye.
Councilmember Tracas.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Madam Chair, on resolution number 1, there are 7 ayes.
The motion carries. Resolution number 1 is adopted. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Any further comment from anyone on the council?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.